Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Mark O'Hare and with We Love Betting, looking at the South American qualifiers on Thursday night. We've already touched on Argentina's game against Peru. I'm going to try and rattle through the other four matches, starting with Bolivia-Brazil. Quite a tricky game to call with this. Most games are when they're played in La Paz, the altitude 3,700 metres above sea level. It seems to have a strange effect on visiting teams who aren't used to the punishing effects it causes. If you look at Bolivia's home record, it certainly seems to ring true. 5 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats at home for a team that my ratings suggest are quite convincingly the second worst team in this section. Paraguay, Argentina and Chile have all lost in the last 3 visits to Bolivia. And if you go back further, 14 matches, they've won half of those, drawn 5 and lost twice, failing to score just once. Really impressive stuff. They've actually lost 6 home qualifiers this century by 2 goals or more. And since 1993, they hold a 1-3 drawn 1, lost 0 home record against Brazil. Unbeaten at home against Brazil since 1985. Really impressive stuff. You get about 21-20 on Bolivia. Double chance in this match, which it's okay. Brazil are odds on. I wouldn't want to be touching either, to be honest. Brazil should be fielding a strong 11 by the looks of it. Marcelo and Felipe Luis are absent, so Alexandro will fill in the left back spot, and if there is an area which they are weak, it probably is fullbacks, because they get forward so often and leave that space in behind for teams like Bolivia, who are good on the counter attack, to take advantage. But you know, it's hard to oppose Brazil. Since Chiche arrived, 9 wins from 9 before they drew away at Colombia last time out. They kind of hampered themselves with that game against Colombia because they were in Porto Alegre, had to face an 8-hour flight across between that match and then 4 days later in Colombia, in the real punishing afternoon heat in Barranquilla on the Colombian coast. And also they were missing Miranda and Marcelo through suspension and left Casemiro and Gabriel Jesus on the bench. This time around, Coutinho, Neymar and Gabriel Jesus are all set to start. They've scored at least twice in 12 of 13 World Cup qualifiers, including 5 of 8 away. So, you know, fully expect them to score and make a game of this, just like Bolivia will. So yeah, I've talked about the sort of outright area. If you are looking to take Brazil on, I'd look at the exactly winning by 1 goal margin at around 11-4. My angle will actually be to take both teams to score here. Not a huge price, 31-40, but interesting enough, I do expect both teams to score, and I think that's probably a fair price. Moving on then, Venezuela are playing Uruguay. Venezuela have held Peru, Colombia and Argentina to draws at home, and Argentina away actually in their last game, the first time they've ever avoided defeat in Argentina. Wonderful for a country really that are already building for Qatar 2022. Their young goalkeeper Farinez has been outstanding, and 9 of that under-20 group are in the squad this time around. They really are building. They've only lost once in 5 at home. That came against Brazil, which is kind of understandable, and they've actually scored more goals than Argentina in the qualifying section, and only 1 less than Colombia. It just gives you an idea as to how they approach things right now. They're looking to get forward, attack teams, plenty of pace and power in that team. And if Uruguay are coming unstuck, it's their away record, 1 win in 7. They won away at Bolivia on the opening day, and since then they've only won once, 2 draws, 4 defeats. That came against Paraguay 2-1 last time out, and both goals came against the run of play. A major deflection and an own goal. They finish up at home to Bolivia though, so if you're looking at Uruguay, you're probably expecting them to basically just try and not lose this match. Tabarez's team are never aesthetically pleasing, far from easy on the eye, very attritional. But if you look at their sort of open play statistics, they've been marginally better than Peru, Paraguay and Ecuador, which kind of gives you an idea about what they're all about. Set pieces are very strong. Clean sheet wise, that only came away at Bolivia. Haven't kept a clean sheet away from home otherwise. Conceded at least twice in 5 of those 8 away qualifiers. They've actually only fired 1 blank themselves. So BTTS again here. It's 1 of 5-6 Venezuela home games and 6 of 7 Uruguay away matches. Also, if you're looking for a bit of value, Venezuela +1 on the Asian handicap. Uruguay have won by 2 or more goals in just 1 of the last 36 away qualifiers. Colombia, Paraguay next on the list. My girlfriend's looking at me very disappointed that I'm still talking about South American football. Colombia were improved, but they haven't been fantastic when they drew 1-1 against Brazil. James is obviously back, conditions suited them, they looked a little bit better, a little bit more vibrant, weren't fantastic. Have only lost twice in 12 now since the start of 2016 though, but disappointingly for them, they've only won 2 of the last 7. But yeah, they failed to get Falcao firing. You look at the form he's in at Monaco, he's not being as effective because he's playing with his back to goal too often for Colombia, but with James back fit and firing, hopefully he'll be able to fire the ammunition towards Falcao for this one, because at home they tend to be superb operators. 5 defeats and 32 home World Cup qualifiers. 18 of those were wins, 16 of those wins were to nil as well, and more recently they won 9 of 14 at home, 8 of which were to nil. And if you look at the current campaign, only Brazil boasts better expected goals against record from open play, which just goes to show how strong they are defensively. You know, I don't like Paraguay. They've been quite inconsistent, they always do, tend to be. They were the better team against Uruguay last time out, lost that match, and this one looks a very tall order, especially if they want to qualify. My ratings to have them down as comfortably the 3rd worst team in this section, and that's despite those kind of shocking wins they had away at Chile and Argentina. Quite remarkable really. Interestingly, they've lost all 4 games when they failed to score, and they haven't lost when they have scored, but only 1 of their last 8 away have seen BTTS, and only 2 in 7 head-to-head have seen BTTS. So if you put the 2 teams' records together, I think Colombia to win to nil is the bet here. It's 23-20, and I think that's a solid play. Finally then to Chile and Ecuador, which you know, if you look at Chile, their best team of a generation really. They've got 99 years without a trophy, then they win 2 Copas and get to the Confederations Cup final, find themselves really scratching for points and in danger of missing out on the World Cup now. They're a point off 4th place Peru, who play 5th place Argentina, so this is a huge game for them, but it could be a lot worse. Of course, they were awarded those points and goals against Bolivia, which they drew because of the ineligible player. Without those points and goals, they'd be in a desperate situation. So they go away to Brazil on the final game on Tuesday night. Brazil have never lost at home in a World Cup qualifier, so it just highlights the importance of Chile having to get something out of this game. Looking at how they play, well, it has changed a bit from the sort of Bielsa Sampioli blueprint. Pizzi likes his teams to keep a bit more control, a bit more possession. He has tried to change that style, but you know, it's an ageing team. They haven't had a summer off for 4 years, and they're looking really short on sort of goal power at the moment. The goals have just dried up. They only scored 4 and 6 at the Confederations Cup. They only beat Cameroon in that tournament. They failed to score in both September matches, both of which were defeated, sort of really poor defeats, especially that Paraguay match. It means in competitive football they've scored 4 goals in 7 games, winning just once. You know, that defeat to Paraguay was disastrous, and fans have actually dawned sort of walls all around the stadium, sort of scrawling messages against Pizzi and against the national team. And you know, he's in a tough situation for going into this game. Alexis Sanchez is suspended, Aranguiz is injured, Pablo Hernandez is a major doubt and probably going to be missing. Vidal's not been 100%, and his mind's been off the game for Chile for a while now too. And Marcelo Diaz has been left out of the squad because of his poor form. But then, you know, every time you look at this game and think, well, I need to be opposing Chile, look at Ecuador. They sacked Gustavo Quinteros last month via Twitter. They had back-to-back defeats against Brazil and Peru. The country's youth team boss is now in charge, so they're in a bit of a mess. Their top goal scorer, Felipe Caicedo, actually retired from international football in protest against the decision to sack Quinteros. They've started to, well, they've just gone off the ball. They started with 4 wins from 4, and since then they've won twice in 12, lost 8 of those as well. Conceded at least twice in 10 of the last 12. They do host Argentina at altitude in their last game, so they're really looking for 2 wins from 2 here. Too many players though have just lost form and fitness throughout their campaign. You look at their centre halves; they've been poor throughout the campaign. Every time they've used too many combinations to centre half for a start, and then going forward, Jefferson Montero was a huge weapon at the start of qualifying. He's lost form. Caicedo, obviously, as I said, is retired, and Valencia's not been at his best for quite a while now too. Leaves them a little bit unbalanced in the 4-2-3-1 they like to play. So yeah, nevertheless, Chile often struggled against their physicality, their pace, their power. So it was really interesting to see how this one goes. It's hard to have the faith in Ecuador. Just 1 point from the last 6 away games. They've only failed to score in one of those last 8 away qualifiers, and that was against Brazil. So fair dues there. But you know, Chile 4 wins from 5 at home, over 2.5 banked in 4 of those 5 wins as well, and they've only kept 2 clean sheets in 8 at home so far in this qualifying campaign. I think both teams to score is a wonderful price. I haven't got it written down here, but it is a great price. I think it's just around even money, if not a bit better. So I'm all over that. So yeah, if you do like Chile to win and both teams to score is will be around the sort of 9 to 4ish mark, which is more than fair. So just to recap: Bolivia will be Brazil BTTS, Venezuela Uruguay BTTS again, Venezuela +1 Asian handicap, Colombia v Paraguay, Colombia to win to 0, and Chile v Ecuador BTTS. Goals Thursday night. Enjoy it.